Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today we're looking at the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Shadowvaults expansion with both the Kasrkin and the Necrons. The Kasrkin in this instance are actually just called the Kasrkin, whereas the Necrons are called the Hierotek. I'm going to say Hierotek? Dynasty. Let's go with that, sure. Faction. Who knows? Before we dive into the rules, first things first, I do want to quickly go over the build instructions because everybody always wants to know base sizes and what do we build from what we get in the box. So very quickly, all of your Kasrkin are on 28mm bases. Easy. The Necrons are a little bit different. So your Immortals and Death Marks are on 32mm bases. That's an Immortal, that's a Death Mark. Your Hierotek, 32mm base. Your other dude, 32, oh, that's a Royal Warden. He's going to come into it in a moment, though. Oh, where's the other guy? I've lost him. Never mind. And your two little plasma sight dudes are on 25s. Oh, and then your big guy, he's on a 50. Whereas your other potential Cryptechs, Plasmotech, whatever they're called, will be on 40s. And that's it. Nice and simple. So you do need to know what to build out of all of these as well. First up, let's talk about the Kasrkin. For the Kasrkin, pretty easy. You build one of everything. You just have to decide which gunners you want to build. So the sharpshooter is an easy one because why wouldn't you take a sniper? And then you have an option of grenade launcher, melter gun, plasma gun, flamer, heavy volley gun. So you've got 5 options, but you can only take 3. This is assuming you're using the sharpshooter. So I went with, oh, you also have to decide how you want to build your lieutenant. So I went with grenade launcher, sharpshooter, obviously. I went with my heavy volley gun. And I went with plasma gun, obviously. So when it comes to the Kasrkin, you're allowed to take 4 gunners. The sharpshooter is one of the gunners, to be clear. Now, from one kit, this is what I would recommend. However, I would say if I had a second kit, or if I was actually building out a full roster, well, if I was building out a full roster, I'd just have everything. Likewise, if I had a second kit. The real one I question is this guy. You always want a plasma. The grenade launcher is great for different scenarios. This, especially if you're looking at Into the Dark, I might recommend actually going with the melter gun. There you go. I mean, I've built them like this, but you decide what you want to do. Right, that's pretty simple, I think. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but which ones? Oh, we've got to talk about him as well. Now, this is your leader dude. Sergeant, I've gone the trusty plasma pistol. And chainsword, I think this is in reality going to be the best option because a plasma pistol is just so good, especially with the Kasrkin's elite rule, which means you can reroll, so you're always going hot. This guy's getting kills. Just no doubt about it. I think, in reality, the only other thing you might want to do with this guy actually is build him as a regular trooper. Sorry, well, not a regular trooper. He's still your leader, but you might want to give him a hell gun long range because he has an ability that allows him to generate elite points by staying at the back of the board. Well, no, by being alive. So you might want him to stay alive for longer. Just very quickly. Which body should you use for the different guns? Don't worry about it. Kill Team, GW, seems to at the moment be doing all of your arms in these new kits. All of the arms actually fit on all of the bodies. That is the case here, but they even go a step further and they even basically tell you, look, these are the pieces that you use if you want to build that gun. And then when it comes to building a gunner, it just says, you know, it even tells you, I think everybody can be the gunner. So you just pick these and you go ahead and build it, and that's easy peasy. Also plenty of head options, really nice. We then go over to the Necrons. Now the Necrons are an interesting one, and basically you get your Cryptek, this guy. He's an obvious build, and then you get 5 bodies. Oh, sorry. So what you're getting in here is a standard Immortal Deathmark sprue with an expansion sprue to it. So this guy just gets built, obviously. Then you have to decide which of the 5 bodies do you want to build. You have the option of a Deathmark, an Immortal with a Tesla, an Immortal with a Gorse, an Apprentek, and I can't remember the name of the other guy. So you have way more options than you actually have bodies here, especially if you decide that you're not actually sure which of the... Do I get to see his name? Immortal Despotek. Obviously, Despot. Ek. Very subtle there, GW. Now, in all of the artwork, they generally show the Despotek with the Gorse. I am going to strongly recommend you build him with the Tesla. And the reason for that, as I've done here we go, this is my Despotek. Pro tip, I couldn't figure out how to get that inside there because I built everything in the wrong order. So it just goes on the outside. What can you do? The reason I'm saying that you should build him this way is because there is the relatively easy to get hold of Royal Warden, who looks exceptionally similar. He looks similar because they both have this little thing on the side of the arm. And so this way, if you're getting hold of this guy, you're getting this as well for free. So I think that's just makes sense. But this guy only comes with a Gorse instead of a Tesla. So you build this guy with the Tesla, and you build the Royal Warden as the only loadout he can possibly be. I think that makes the most sense. I would also say you are definitely building your Apprentek. No reason to not build him. And that leaves you with 4 possibilities, because you've built your Apprentek and you've built your Despotek. I then went with one dude here, Deathmark. I would say the Deathmark, for some reason, have been given new heads. If you aren't aware, they've been given new heads in the upgrade sprue. I don't know why. It doesn't denote anything. It's just new head. So there you go. So feel free to use that if you want. I will build one. The reason for that we're going to come to when we get to their rules. I think in reality, if you only have a single box of 5 models, and you've built your Apprentek, and you've built your Despotek with Tesla, I think you're only going to build one Deathmark. Potentially at some point you might want to. I don't know. You then have to decide what else to build. And you've got 2 models left. So, are you going to go 2 Tesla or 2 Gorse? Good question. Now, obviously, I luckily happen to have the models around that I could build both. So I didn't have to worry about that. But, considering, assuming you take the Royal Warden, you've got access to your Despotek as either Gorse or Tesla. Gosh, what do you do? Essentially, to cut a very long story short, Tesla is for your hordes. Gorse is for your, what's the word? Elites. Personally, I would be leaning more towards Tesla if you have access to everything, just because Tesla synergizes with some of the equipment a little bit better. However, in this meta, we are getting a lot of elite models, a lot of legionaries, a lot of intercession, and so these are better against those. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Keep in mind you are going to be taking one of these guys, and they are obviously good against elites, so at this point, it's kind of up to you, but if I had to say, you could play it safe and build one of each, but I think you... honestly, to be clear, I don't think you can actually go too far wrong. But if we assume that you built the Despotek with this, and you don't want to get the Royal Warden just yet, maybe, or you can't find him, if you've made this guy Tesla, build the other 2 as the Gorse. That would be my official guidance. Of course, I will be doing in-depth guides after I've done this video. where I go over each of the factions a little bit more in depth, and I will give a slightly more concise guide as to what I think you should build there. And with that said, let's dive in. Oh, I've got to say, I'm a Xenos lover. Can't deny that at all. But this set of models speaks to me way more than Into the Dark. I really like this stuff. I'm a big fan of the Xenos, so the Necrons speak to me, at least aesthetically, if not in another way. Mechanically, that's the word I was looking for. And Kasrkin are just super cool. You know, the elite of the elite, very cool. Do note, out of interest, this is back to only being the first claw, whereas the previous things we've seen have been both First Claw and Gretchen Revolutionary Committee. But look at this, all new artwork. Look, so good. Kasrkin taking down this is some beautiful artwork. Don't worry, we are going to be getting to things, but I just want to give people a little bit of time. We get more of this beautiful Kill Team artwork, the black and the orange and the white, obviously it's a very monochrome. Looks very cool. Kasrkin, lots to read here. Now the Kasrkin, this is, I would hope, a little bit of a lore update, because Cadia got blown up, and as far as we should have been aware, Kasrkin were gone, right? It's giving us a few different kill teams. It's giving us a lot of info here. Squad Pavlo, presumably. Squad Pavlo might be showing up a little bit later in the book. Under the narrative, we get some cool stuff. I would like to point out, what I'm attempting to do here, obviously my guys aren't done yet, is do some urban camo. And that is the alternate scheme that they show off in this book. They show off the standard Cadian, but then in some of these pictures they show off the urban camo. Love the urban camo look. Looks so good. I can't do it to this level. It looks, but I think it looks brilliant, honestly. You know, like one of my dreams, one of my hashtag squad goals, hashtag Kill Team squad goals, would be to have a full, like this level quality Imperial Guard army, all in urban camo. So good. Anyway, let's power through. Oh yeah, there's just more of this now. You can come back and read all this good stuff, but we know what we're here for. We're here for the rules, lads. So let's crack on with the Kasrkin Kill Team. I will say, first of all, although I have built my stuff, I have yet to actually fully understand and play with these rules. So keep in mind that this is going to be a little bit of a man reads book as opposed to a man explains rules. Hopefully, you know, this is my first read through. Well, not my first read through, but this is my first video for the Shadowvaults, stuff. Once I go ahead and make my in-depth faction videos, it will be me understanding the Kill Team. So you're kind of, in essence, although I have read this already once, I haven't understood it. So hopefully you are kind of getting my first thing. Oh, what's that? Oh, Kill Team merch. Yeah, not bad, not bad. That's right, I've sat down with water, because this is going to be like a 2-hour video, especially at the rate I'm talking at this point. Let's dive in. You can take Recon, Security, Seek and Destroy. You are a 10-man team. A Kasrkin Sergeant, Bolt Pistol Power Weapon, Hotshot Las Gun, Gun Butt, Hotshot Las Pistol Power Weapon, Plasma Pistol, Chainsword. As mentioned, I went Plasma Pistol, Chainsword because you just can't really go wrong. And I think they don't really have any shenanigans in melee to keep him alive. So unless you're getting a one-shot kill with that power weapon, you probably shouldn't be in melee. Yep. As we'll get to it in a second. I think he's on the next page. Well, after the abilities, he's on the first page for the data sheets. But the Hotshot Las Gun might have merit. Otherwise, I think you're probably going Plasma Pistol, Chainsword. Right. So again, you have enough bodies to build one of everything. but you will have to pick only 4 gunners as opposed to the potential 6 options they have, and that's if you're including a sharpshooter as a regular gunner. So take one of everything. Interestingly, the standard trooper, which is the only model you can take twice, does have a little something that you can gives it a reason to take over some of the specialists, but I don't think he's good enough to take over a specialist, if you see what I mean. So again, you have to pick your gunner. I already kind of went over that, but if you've just jumped to this bit, I personally went grenade launcher, hotshot volley gun, plasma gun, sharpshooter. But if I were to swap one out, it would be hotshot volley gun for melter gun. There you go, simple. Otherwise, you're taking a combat medic, demo trooper, a recon trooper, a sharpshooter, and a fox trooper, and then 1 trooper just to fill it out. There we go. Now, before we read the TAC Ops, because let's be honest, why are we reading TAC Ops? We don't know what the team is yet. Let's read the elite ability. To cut a long story short, you start the game with 10. Every time you make a shoot action, you can use each elite point to change the dice roll that you've rolled. So the most obvious way to view this is if you've got your plasma guys and they're rolling 1s, you use elite to at the very least pop it from a 1 to a 2, so you're not killing yourself. However, you are spending an elite point per dice per dice face you change up to, so you can spend 3 elite points to go from a 1 to a 2 to a 3 to a 4, if that's how you want to do it. So this is their special thing. This is their, hey, if I want the enemy to die, I spend this. This is your guarantee of getting a kill, essentially, right? I will read it out though. You start the battle with a pool of 10 elite points. Each time a friendly Kasrkin operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, you can spend 1 or more of your elite points to adjust 1 and only 1 of your dice. For each point you spend, add 1 to the dice result and reduce the number of elite points in your pool by 1. So again, this is a single dice. You can still spend your CP to re-roll another dice. It's your choice. For example, a friendly Kasrkin operative makes a shooting attack. In the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you roll 4 attack dice and the results are 1, 2, 4, and 6. You spend 2 elite points to increase the result of 1 of your attack dice, modifying a 2 into a 4. Note that you cannot spend elite points to modify more than 1 dice from the roll. Cool. Let's quickly go over the TAC Ops, because once we get all through this, I think Kasrkin are going to be strong, but I don't think they're going to be strong because of their data sheets. I think they're going to be strong because you can score TAC Ops, if I'm honest. I don't think there's anything super stand out in the data sheets, but I think they're going to score very well. So, Kasrkin. Vital objective. Reveal this TAC Op in the target reveal step of any turning point after the first. If this TAC Op is revealed at the end of the target reveal step of each turning point, select 1 objective marker that friendly operatives do not control to be your vital objective marker until the start of the next turning point. At the end of any turning point, if friendly operatives control your vital objective marker, you score 1 VP, and then do it again. So, TAC Op revealed at the end of the target. So you can't reveal on the first turn, obviously, and then you just select one of the mid-ground central objectives and score that next turn. There are going to be some missions, depending on how you're scoring, where this is going to be super easy to score. Like, this is a really good objective, I think. And you might even at some points want to deliberately not capture an objective turn 1, even one that's possibly in your own deployment zone, if you can push up the board instead, so that you can then capture it. Well, you can't score this turn 1, but you get my point. You might want to deliberately stay off an objective. Stand fast. Reveal this TAC Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. At the end of any turning point, if friendly operatives control 2 or more objective markers, and friendly operatives control more objective markers than enemy operatives control, you score 1 VP. So again, it's just control 2 and more, and that's it. If you're out objectiving your opponent, it's a little bit of a win more, I understand. But yep. And then we get secure zone. Reveal this tack up at the target reveal step of any turning point. If this tack up is revealed at the end of the target reveal step of each turning point, place one of your secure zone tokens anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from your drop zone and within 2 circle horizontally of an enemy operative. So further than that. At the start of the next turning point, remove that token. Okay. Yep. At the end of any turning point, if a friendly operative is within 2 circle horizontally of your secure zone token, and no enemy operatives are within 2 circle horizontally of your secure zone token, you score 1 BP. Do it again. So, yeah, pretty good, right? Yeah. I don't know, it's just essentially you're putting down an easy to score objective on the board, and if you do score it, you get it. Note that you can just put this on an objective you're already holding, kind of. Or, sorry, an objective that you know you can hold the next turn. I don't know, this seems just really good. You know, assuming that you are on a map where you can get further than 6 inches red from your drop zone, like just, yeah, run up, grab it. Solid. Obviously on Into the Dark, assuming they don't change how you're able to forward deploy or anything, this is super easy to score. So really, really, you know, you just open door, pop it around the corner, and it's there. We've just covered elite. So again, I think these are super easy to score. I think these are really good objectives. And looking at the rest of this, because certainly one of the first things I intend to play with the Kasrkin is against Intercession and then Legionaries. These guys we're about to see, they're not going to be out shooting or out meleeing or out anythinging Intercession. So how do you beat them? You just play that objective. Like, you have power, but it's not, you know, one-on-one, obviously. So yeah, objectives, and I think they will play the objectives very well. Strategic ploys, tactical ploys. Elimination pattern. Everything's 1 CP? Yeah, cool. Until at the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Kasrkin operative makes a shooting attack with a hotshot weapon, excluding the snipe profile, which we'll just quickly look at that so that we know what we're talking about. Sharpshooter. Notice that you have your hotshot marksman rifle. Your snipe cannot do this, but your sharpshot can. Excluding the snipe profile, against a target that is not in cover, that weapon gains the P1 critical hit roll for that shooting attack. A hotshot weapon is a ranged weapon that includes hotshot in its name. So 1 CP, all of your hotshot stuff gets P1. Now, keep in mind that your dice can be boosted to become a critical. There you go. Is that right? It must be, right? Attack dice after that combat or shooting attack, you spend 1 of your elite points to just 1 of your dice. Yeah, okay. It must be. It must be. Presumably, yeah, that works. So you can guarantee essentially that all of your shots are AP1 if you want to. With this bad boy. You know, assuming that you have the elite points to spare, but you probably do. Safeguard until the end of the turn, but each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Kasrkin operative, if it is in cover, you can reroll any or all of your defense dice results of 1. So this is a reroll 1s on defense if you're in cover. That's not amazing, to be honest. So you're only a 4 up. So this is, you've got a 50-50. You know, you've only got 3 dice. Maybe you'll get a reroll, maybe you won't, because you could roll a 2 or a 3 instead. I don't know the statistics on it, but it doesn't seem great. Especially if you're in cover, you're already retaining 1 anyway. So it's like, well... so then, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem amazing. If this had been a auto-retain a second, then it would be really, well, probably too strong. So yeah. Clearance sweep, 1 CP. Place 1 of your clearance sweep tokens anywhere in the kill zone. Each time a shooting attack is made by a friendly Kasrkin operative within 2 circle horizontally of that token against a target within 2 circle horizontally of that token. In the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can spend 1 elite point for free during that shooting attack. Even if you don't have any in your pool, at the end of the turn point, remove that token. So this is a you know, a way to get an elite point. What does an elite point mean? You don't roll a 1, essentially. Or you could view it as, you know, +1 BS to 1 of your dice. Whatever. you're hitting on 3s instead of 4s. Reposition. Select one friendly Kasrkin operative that is more than blue square from enemy operatives. That operative and all other friendly Kasrkin operatives within blue of that operative and more than blue from enemy operatives can immediately perform a free dash action. You cannot use this strategic deploy during the first turning point. Okay. So select one. Sorry, I've just got to reread this because there's been so many blues. I've lost track of what it's doing. More than blue from enemy operatives. Select one. Okay, that operative and all other friendly operatives. Okay, gotcha. So it's a little bit of a group activation almost. It's you know, you say this guy's going to do it, and then all of these guys can do it. Cool, nice. So it's not just everybody; it's just within a localized area. So cover retreat. I like to imagine that thematically, this is because the sergeant is just says, "Hey, you guys over there do this thing," and they're like, "Oh, I don't know which one he means." So they just all do it instead. Cover retreat. Use this tactical deploy when a friendly Kasrkin operative is activated till the end of that activation, while that operative is visible to and within 6 of another friendly Kasrkin operative that is not within engagement range of an enemy operative. That activated Kasrkin operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less action point. Fallback for only 1 APL. Fine, whatever. Neutralize target. Use this tactical deploy after rolling attack dice for a shooting attack made by a friendly Kasrkin operative. If the target of that attack is not ready and either has an engage order or is not in cover, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice for that shooting attack. Okay. Seize the initiative. Use this tactical deploy after rolling off to determine the initiative. You can reroll your dice. So I actually quite like this one. I'm not going to lie. Just because, you know, sometimes the initiative roll is super important. So it's cool that you have a way to affect it, even if it's not exactly the most reliable thing. You know, if they rolled a relatively low roll, you can say, "Oh, right, you know what? I reckon I can beat that." And then for Cadia, no, you know, haven't read it yet. Let's hope this is a big one. Let's hope it's a big one. Use this tactical deploy when a friendly Kasrkin operative is activated until the end of the turning point. Add 1 to both damage characteristics of a gun butt that operative is equipped with, if any, and each time that operative would lose a wound, roll 1d6 on a 5-up. That wound is not lost. Man, when you're reading that the first half of that first sentence there, you're like, oh my god, am I going to turn my hotshot lasguns from a 3-4 into a 4-5? Oh my god, oh my god. Nope, it's just the gun butt. Which, to be clear, over here is 3 attacks hitting on 4s, 2-3. So this would turn you into 3 attacks hitting on 4s, 3-4. You're not a melee team. It's fine. However, I will say that 5-up for no pain for the whole team is pretty good. Okay, nice. All right. So that's all of our points. Now we'll just get down to the data sheet. So let's have a little sip of our GHD branded sippy cup. There you go. Oh yeah, very nice. Very, very tasteful merchandise there. Alright, Kasrkin Sergeant. So these are, just quickly, let's look at the medic to get our basic stat line. We're 3 circle move, APL 2, GA 1, defense 3, obviously. Save is 4s, wounds are 7. Notice that our weapon skill, ballistic skill was 4s across the board. Now this is an interesting one, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, these 4s. Now obviously the reason for that is because we have elite, and I can totally understand that having potential rerolls across the entire team when you're hitting on 3s, I mean that's pretty strong. But it's not really potential rerolls across the entire team, is it? It's rerolling 1 dice across the entire team. So I don't know, I guess this changes your general maths from being a 50-50 to being 75%. So, you know, instead of hitting twice, you're hitting 3 times. I mean, that's all that elite is doing for you. Anyway, let's talk about the Sergeant. This is a pretty standard profile now, and I'm not going to read all of these out. Just know that Plasma Pistol is almost always the best option. Hot shots are good. Nothing wrong with the hotshot las pistol. You know, it's fine. You're hitting on 3s, so it turns you into a standard bolt pistol or a standard bolt gun. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4. If you go with the hotshot las gun. Both of which, of course, with a CP, you can make P1. It's almost like you're a Phobos Marine. But let's see leadership. Each strategy phase add 2 elite points to your pool. Now, unless I've missed something, this is the only way you're getting more elite points. You start with 10, and you do have one of these that I think it was neutralized target. Nope, can't remember. One of these that gives you can act as if you had elite points. This is the only thing that actually just legitimately gives you genuinely more elite points. I don't think there's anything else, but let's keep going. There probably is that gives you like targeted elite points. Kasrkin combat medic. What can we say? It's a medic. Hotshot lasgun, gunbutt. Let's see. Have they put other? That friendly optimism has one remaining of his issue. Another friendly, yeah. So you can't resurrect yourself. We're finally at the point in the books where they don't make that mistake anymore. Combat stims is within 2d3 lost wounds. That's good. But if you cannot be selected for this action to revive using the medic ability, okay. So yeah, standard combat medic. Again, you have a hotshot lasgun. So you're probably, even if you don't particularly want a medic, although why wouldn't you want a medic, you're probably taking the medic over a standard trooper. Then go to the demo trooper. There's a lot of text here. Let me just quickly remove my hand from it. You may have a quick read, so without my hand getting in your way, I apologize. Let's read the demo trooper. So you don't get the las gun, you get the las pistol instead. It's the same profile, damage-wise, hit-wise, you're just at range 6. Melter Mine, let's read that. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, 4-2, AP 2, mortal wounds 3. So, to be clear, a crit is only 5 damage. It's not, 7 or something insane. But that AP 2, very nice. Proximity is pretty much what you would expect. Let's read through proximity. The first time an enemy operative moves within a circle of this operative's Melter Mine token, make a shooting attack against each operative within a circle of that token with this weapon, even if this operative is not in the kill zone. So that is important. Occasionally they put down something where if the layer of the mine dies, your mine goes away. This one, not an issue. Your mine stays there indefinitely, even if you die. And I think that's very good. That's how they should all work, really. But when making these shooting attacks, those operatives are always valid targets and cannot be in cover. At the end of those shooting attacks, remove that token. An operative cannot make a shooting attack with this weapon by any other means, or if its Melter Mine token is not in the kill zone. Cool. Blast padding. Each time a shooting attack is made against this operative, if the ranged weapon has the blast special rule or makes a shooting attack against each operative within range of a specified point, e.g. Melter Mine, in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, you can reroll any or all of your defense dice. In addition, this operative is unaffected by the splash X critical hit rule unless it is selected as the target of the shooting attack. Cool. Then we get I apologise. Jesus, what a high intensity video this is. Plant Melter Mine, pretty much what you'd expect. Plant it within 1 inch of your operative. Although, note you do have to be over 2 inches from enemy operatives, so you can't just drop it with a guaranteed this guy's going to blow up. Which is a little bit of a shame, because, just off the top of my head, with that in mind, you can't do some sneaky suicide drop and drop it directly so it's guaranteed to hit 3 guys. In fact, that means it's guaranteed to only ever possibly hit 1 guy, because it's triggered by somebody moving within 2 of it, and you cannot drop it any closer, or you cannot drop it within that. So this is hit 1 dude, which, hey, I mean, against an elite team, super good, because it's AP2 and it's going to deal a lot of damage. But yeah, cool. Kasrkin gunners. So we can just have a quick talk here about the flame of the grenade launcher, the hotshot volley gun, the melter gun, or the plasma gun. So as mentioned, I went with plasma gun, hotshot volley, grenade launcher. Yeah, flamer, 5 attacks hitting on 2s, 2-2. It's a standard flamer. I don't have much more to add to that. People don't like flamers. Even in Into the Dark, I don't think flamers are that super duper. Your absolute maximum potential is 10 damage, right? Well, sorry, you have torrent. The whole point of the gun is you have torrent. Yeah. Right. Grenade launcher. You time this weapon. What am I talking about? Frag crack. This is just nice because you either get blast or AP1. AP1's always good. Blast, also pretty good. Hotshot volley gun. So this is the new gun for them. It's 5 attack. It's hitting on 4s. It's 3/4. It's fusillade. It's P1. So this guy gets P1 built into the hotshot volley. Whereas for everybody else, it's going to cost you a CP. 5 attacks, great. Hitting on 4s, kind of sucky. And in fact, you know, elite goes down in value the more dice you have because you can only reroll 1 dice. Otherwise, it's just a bolter with fusillade. It's a bad bolt gun essentially. P1's nice though, and P1 does obviously interact nicely with 5 attacks. Melter gun, it's what you'd expect. 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 6/3 range, red, AP2, mortal wounds 4. I mean, melter gun's a great gun, especially again with elite, because you can practically guarantee a kill. Well, unless you completely fluff everything, obviously. Don't forget that obviously P1 and mortal wound 4 are going to stack with your elite. You can bump up to guarantee a mortal wound or a P1. Plasma gun, AP1, AP2. Plasma gun's still an auto take. Never don't take it. Ah, man, every time I look at their stats, I see the hitting on 4s. It's so painful to see. Yeah, I really wish... Honestly, I would rather the whole team hits on 3s and doesn't have elite, and they get something other than elite. Yeah, hitting on 4s is real rough, because you know who doesn't hit on 4s? Who hits on 3s? Novitiates. The absolute lowest of the low sister of battle. The untrained, like, people that are very good. That's just, go woke, go hit on 3-ups, apparently, I guess. What can you do? What can you do? Kasrkin Recon Trooper. Yep. Reconnoiter kill zone. In the scouting step, after resolving your selection, you can resolve an additional recon option, even if you have already selected that option. Initiative is still determined by your original selection. Both players have this also leverage. Oh my shit, Jesus Christ. Keep it together, Andy. My God. If both players have this or a similar ability, the defender resolves this ability first. So, this allows you to dash twice, put down 2 barricades, or flip 2 tokens. This is really nice. Right? Like in this game, after resolving your selection, you can resolve an additional recon option, even if you have already... Like, that's really good. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time that it's said you can do the same recon option twice. That's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. And then we get to Warden Auspex. Can you guys actually see? Yeah, you can see everything good. Select 1 enemy operative until the end of the turning point. Each time a friendly Kasrkin operative makes a shooting attack against that enemy operative, the ranged weapon that friendly operative is equipped with gains the no cover special rule for that shooting attack. Okay, we don't really care about that. And that enemy operative is not treated as being in cover for the specified cover purposes of the elimination pattern strategic ploy and neutralized target. Oh, okay, alright. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. I'm going to go back and reread eliminate pattern strategic ploy and neutralized target tactical ploy. So elimination pattern and neutralized target. Okay, what's this going to do then? So at the end of the turn, when each time a friendly Kasrkin operative makes a shooting attack with a hotspot weapon, it's a target that is not in cover, which this grants you. That weapon gets the P1 critical hit rule for that attack. Oh, okay, so you get... Okay, so you will still have had to have popped these, obviously. You don't just get them. And then it will give you P1 and a free elite token, right? Engage orders not in cover. You can reroll any attack dice. No, reroll. Okay, relentless. Okay, cool. Interesting. And that enemy operative is not treated being cover, but it's but they are in cover, so you're not getting any funky free shots on them. Okay, still, I mean, you're still taking the recon trooper, so cool. Kasrkin sharpshooter. Right, what are you? You are sharp shot or snipe, which is sharp shot hitting on 4s. Sorry, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3, 4. So it's literally a bolter. Otherwise, you can be hitting on 2s, 3, 3, heavy silent, mortal wound 3. Nice. Camo cloak. If you're in cover, retain an additional dice. Nice. That's what I want. That's what I want. Camo cloaks are so strong. There you go. Yep, nothing to add to that really. Yeah, sharp shot is the thing that allows you to move around and still shoot. Snipe is the thing that allows you to get those sweet sniper kills. Kasrkin trooper. This is the standard trooper, and you know, no need to read out his profile. The reason you might take him is because of elite trooper. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack, you can spend 1 elite point for free during that shooting attack, even if you don't have any in your pool. Very nice. So it just makes him a little bit more accurate than everybody else. However, I will say I do think that everybody else, like they provide something of value to you. So, Kasrkin Vox Trooper. Battle Comms 1 AP. Select 1 friendly Kasrkin operative in the kill zone, add 1 to its APL. This operative can perform this action twice during its activation, but cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So I think pretty clear, you don't need to be visible, you don't need anything, you just perform it. I think it's pretty clear, this guy, he's a must take. You're going to sit him on the back objective, and he's never moving, and he's always doing battle comms. Double battle comms every time. So that's really nice. So, every turn, 2 of your guys, 3 APL. And that's it. That's it. We go to equipment. Let's quickly read this. No more than 1 of each item. Cool. Full grip, 1 EP. Operative equipped with hot shot lasgun only. The operative gains the following ability for the battle. Full grip. Each time this operative performs an Overwatch action, for that action shooting attack, do not worsen the BS of the hot shot lasgun as is equipped with as a result of performing an Overwatch action. Cool. Are you going to be overwatching much? You're a 10-man team. But don't forget that Overwatch is guard as well, so you could be guarding at full BS. Okay. Long range scope. Operative equipped with a hotshot lasgun or hotshot marksman rifle only. The hotshot lasgun or hotshot marksman rifle gains long range scope. Each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack with this weapon against a target more than read from it in the roll attack that step that shooting attack, if you retain any critical hits, this weapon gains the no cover special rule for that shooting attack. There's a lot of ways to get no cover with this team. No cover is good, I can't lie. It's doubly so against certain teams, so like Kroot, who are able to retain 2, and Worm Cult agents, who are able to retain 2 when they're in cover. I mean, this just neutralizes both of those teams, essentially. So, interesting. Right, we get to Adrenaline Shot, 1 EP. Once per battle, when this operative is activated, you can use this ability. If you do so until the end of the activation, you can ignore any more modifiers to this operative's APL movement. Okay, cool. Frag grenade, crack grenade. Decoy grenade, stun grenade. Now, I don't know if we've had a decoy grenade before. We know what a stun does. It's on a 4-up, -1 APL to everyone within circle. Decoy grenade. Select 1 point in the kill zone within 6 inches of this operative, while roll 1d6 for each operative within 2 circles of that point. Subtract 1 from the result if that operative is not visible to this operative. On a 4-up until the end of the turning point, that operative cannot perform guard or overwatch actions. If they are already on guard, they are no longer on guard. This operative can only perform this action once and cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. Cool. I quite like it. It's a nice little bit of tech. It's got a very large blast radius, so you've got actually a 10-inch threat range on that decoy grenade. Sorry, plus obviously your movements are technically a 16-inch threat range, but whatever. You're still almost only taking a frag and a crack, as like that's your 5 EP, and then you'll figure out what else to take. But yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. And that's the Kasrkin done. There you go. That was, how long was that? Oh, A mere 45 minutes. Wow. Wow. Stunning. Nice. That's good. You slowly enjoy the Spec Ops here. Oh, I'm sorry. We're already over to the Hierotek Circle Kill Team. Note these bad boys here. Oh, love me some urban camo. I could just sit here and look at urban camo schemes, honestly. Also, do note this thing here. That's weird. Oh, what's that? Maybe we're about to get to that after the teams and when we look at the special rules. The narrative rules. Sorry, time to have another sip on my glass half dead merch. Thank you. Now, to be clear, you know, that was these bad boys here that we just looked at. Obviously, I haven't finished painting these, my bad, lol. I just think they're cool because I just quite like the Scions. I like the Kasrkins, you know, the special elite troops of the IG. Pretty nifty. But aside from that, there's not much about them that really did much for me there. I think they look cool. I think thematically they're cool. I think they look cool AF here. But I'm a Xenos man, a Xenos boy, a Xenos lover. Okay. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. Look at these guys here. Look at this little tide, the steel tide. Obviously these aren't done, but I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about, because there's a lot to talk about. Okay. So you can take recon and security. Operatives. A cryptek, a chronomancer with Aeon Stave, or a chronomancer with entropic lance. A psychomancer, a technomancer. So, okay. You have a potential psychomancer, chronomancer, psychomancer, technomancer, secondarily equipped chronomancer. So 4 options as your leader. You then get the 2 plasma sites, an accelerator and a reanimator. And then we get our 5 Hierotek Circle. Apprentech, Deathmark, Immortal Despotek with either Gorse or Tesla, and Immortal Guardian with either Gorse or Tesla. Other than Deathmark and Immortal Guardian, only take 1 each. Oof. Interesting, right? So as I've already said, you know, you're taking 1 Cryptek. In the box comes your big guy. You're taking 1 and 1, and then Apprentech, and Despotek, guaranteed. Deathmark, yeah, I think you're always taking 1, and then 2 Immortals. Okay. Oh yes. Let's look at their abilities. Let's look at their abilities, because of course, if you're familiar with the Necrons, these probably already mean something to you, and so you don't need to know the data sheets exactly yet to understand what this does. So let's quickly have a look through. Living metal. In the ready operative step of the initiative phase, this operative regains up to 2 lost wounds, or 1 if it's a plasma site. So just everybody, every turn, regains 2 lost wounds. Nice. Reanimation protocols. This is literally the same, except it's free. You die, you immediately place a token. Boom. You can come back on a 3+. On a 1 or 2, leave that operative reanimate. I've said it. You don't need to know more. But do know, you keep your order token next to the reanimation token because they come back with the same order. D3 wounds remaining. And it only happens once per model. Also note, that this happens after living metal. So you don't come back with D3 and then gain 2 wounds. You just come back like this. So essentially you come back guaranteed with 2 wounds, basically. So anything in the game kills you again. As opposed to potentially coming back with 3 and then gaining 2, so you're actually back with 5 wounds. Anyway. Let's have a read of their attack ops. Unyielding Ancients. Reveal this attack op at the target reveal step at the first turning point. At the end of the battle, if 3 or more friendly Hierotek Circle operatives, excluding plasma site operatives, are within 6 inches of the center of the kill zone and or your opponent's drop zone, you score 1 BP. So this is, let's have a read. Sorry, at the end of the battle. So whenever your battle ends, whether you get to the end of turn 4 or if you're super slow play and you only get to the end of turn 2, if you have anyone within 6 inches of the opponent's drop zone or the center, you get this, and that sounds pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And then if you achieve that placement with either a Cryptek or a Frentech, you get a second VP. I actually quite like this. You are a slow team, so this isn't like your, the Void Dancers zooming around places. But yeah, I think this is solid. Unearth Artifice. Reveal this tack up in the target reveal step of that turning point. Of the first turning point. Place one of your Artifice tokens anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from your drop zone and not on a terrain feature, unless it has the insignificant trait. That token is earthed. At the end of any turning point before the 4th, if you control your unearthed Artifice token, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if you control your unearthed token, you score 1 VP. For 2 AP, an operative can perform this action while it controls your earthed Artifice token. The Artifice token is unearthed. An operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So basically, you place a token anywhere over 6 inches from your drop zone, move up to it, 2 AP, and then hold it for 2 turns. Basically, nice. Worthy of study. Reveal this tack up with the target step of the first or second turning point. Select 2 of your opponent's operatives you control. Your opponent then selects one of them to be worthy of study. That enemy operative is incapacitated before it is removed from the kill zone. Place one of your study tokens as close as possible to the center of its base. At the end of any turning point, if friendly operatives control your study token, and a friendly Cryptek or Frentech operative is within 6 inches of at least one of those friendly operatives, you score 1 VP. Oh, okay. And do it again. So I generally don't like any tack ops where your opponent can choose how you score it. And this is one of those. However, again, knowing that there are so many elite teams out there, they kind of doesn't matter as much. This isn't Vet Guard where they can put it on a random GA2 dude and just leave that dude at the back for the whole game, or on their sniper who can stay at the back on a vantage point the entire game, right? This is, if you're into an elite team, they can't afford to leave somebody out of the game. So it's good for that. Otherwise, I prefer the other two, to be honest with you. Although I will say a 2 AP mission action is pretty tough. But okay. Strategic boys. Relentless Onslaught, 1 CP. Everything's 1 CP? Yeah, cool. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Hierotek Circle operative makes a shooting attack against a target within red of it, in the rolled attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can reroll one of your attack dice. This strategic ploy has no effect on shooting attacks made using the magnification conduit ability. We'll get to that later. Yeah, so reroll it. Yep. If you're within 6, reroll a shooting attack. Okay. I guess. Weirdly, it's called Relentless Onslaught, but it's actually kind of giving you just Ceaseless. So it's not Ceaseless, sorry. Ceaseless is reroll 1s. This is balanced. It's giving you balanced, but it should be called a balanced onslaught. TBH. Intractable March. Until the end of the turning point, while a friendly Deathmark or Immortal operative has an engage order, add circle to his movement characteristic. Because that's right, everybody, you forgot, didn't you? You forgot, didn't you? Everything is move. Sorry, well, your regular guys are move to circle. Because you're slow AF. So do keep in mind, though, that this is only for 3 of your operatives. Oh, sorry. A Deathmark or Immortal. Is your Despotech? Yeah, it's an Immortal. Okay. Yeah. So it's for 4 of your operatives. So over half your team, so it's probably fair. You can give them an extra move. Undying Androids. Until the end of the turning point, each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Hierotek Circle operative that is not in cover. In the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack before rolling your defense dice, you can retain 1 as a successful normal save without rolling it. So that's really nice. So this is essentially you get cover. you're not actually getting cover, so any special rules that interact with having cover or not having cover aren't affected, but you retain one. Dimensional concealment. Death marks only. You get for 1 AP. Change the operative's order. You can only ever use it once. So, okay, cool. Change in order. I wonder what that could be. Used alongside. Oh, tactical ploys. Dimensional translocation. Interesting. Use this tactical ploy in the setup operative step when you would set up operatives. Select one friendly Deathmark operative to be set up in a hyperspace dimension instead. In the firefight phase of the first turning point, that operative is considered to be within the kill zone for activation purposes and must be activated as normal. When it is, set it up with an order of your choice anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from the enemy drop zone and enemy operatives. That operative is treated as having performed a normal move action, subtract action points accordingly. Then continue its activation as normal. You can only use this tactical ploy once. So this is why I recommend always having a death mark in your list. This gives you access to a forward deploy. It's probably a pretty good thing, and death marks are pretty good at shooting, so why not? Although do note that the way this is worded, if you actually manage to get a shot, you can't, unfortunately, drop down, shoot, and swap to concealment. It's not going to work. Unless there is some way to give your forward deploy death mark an additional APL. Let's read on. Leech power. Use the tactical deploy when a friendly Cryptek operative is activated. Select one other friendly Hierotek Circle operative within 2 circle of that Cryptek operative. If that other friendly operative's APL is not negatively modified, in total after applying all modifiers, subtract 1 from its APL and add 1 to that Cryptek operative's APL. You thought you were about to get the answer to this here, didn't you? You thought wrong. No, so this is pretty cool. So you are able to buff your APL on these guys, who are your Cryptek, who are APL 3, which is very nice, up to APL 4 by sacrificing it from another model. Do note that you can do this off plasma sites if you want, because it's just another friendly Hierotek Circle. So you don't have to be giving up a big attack, a big shot to do it. Although I suspect if you have a shot ready to go, you're taking that shot instead of giving 4 APL here. So, cortical subjugation. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Cryptek operative is selected as the target of a shooting attack. Select one other friendly circle operative that is visible to and within the circle of that friendly Cryptek operative and is not within engagement range of an enemy operative. Resolve that shooting attack against that other friendly operative instead. It is treated as a valid target. I'm going to have to reread that, sorry. Let's reread that. A friendly Cryptek operative is selected as the target of a shooting attack. Right, yes, thank you. Okay, right. Yes, this is basically... for 1 CP you get Tao's Savior Protocols. There you go. Commence reanimation, which you will probably need because you're only a 3-up save with 11 wounds. Like, you're a firstborn, and we all know how easily those mini marines die. Commence reanimation. Use this tactical deploy when a friendly Hierotek Circle operative is incapacitated the first time during the battle. The operative attempts reanimation. So, if we go back to here. You do this in the ready operative step, so you can immediately reanimate. You come back with the same token, I believe. Yeah, you'd be ready again. Set up the operative without reanimation replaceable. It must be accessible to reanimation taken, not with the second. Yeah, okay. So I assume you would also come back if you die. Basically, if you accidentally get sniped out by a guy you didn't expect coming, this just jumps in and says, nope, I'm back on the board. And, best of all, you would then be back in play to receive living metal as well. Okay, that's the ploys done. We have another little sip from our GHD branded thing. Lovely. Very sexual. Okay. We now go over to the Crypteks. There's a lot of text here, isn't there? A lot of text. Let's dive in. So, the Chronomancer is the one that can be equipped with either the Aeon Stave or the Entropic Lance. These are two beasts. Sorry, for those of you unaware, I do want to just quickly show these models, actually, because I went out and I bought two, because I was like, I'm a Xenos man, I'm doing this correctly, okay? This is the difference between an Aeon Stave and an this is it. This is the difference, okay? Guys, you do not need to, even I don't know which is which, just to be clear. I don't know which one is the Aeon Stave and which one is the Entropic Lance. So if you are into Necrons, you do not need to buy two Chronomancers, and I will double down on that, sorry. Also to say, if you're like me and you're quite happy to go out and buy extra models, despite what comes in the kit, do not buy two Chronomancers. Because even in 40k, which is why I like to buy extra models, because they can potentially go from Kill Team to 40k, and so I feel quite justified in buying them. You can only ever take one Chronomancer in your list. So there you go. Don't do that. That was my mistake. I got a little bit too excited when I saw that you could take so many Cryptex. Right. However, you're pretty killy. Let's look at these. So firstly, you are 3 circle move, APL 3, GA 1, defense 3, save 3 up, wounds 11. Oh, I will quickly throw in, actually, sorry. Throughout this entire book, there are no GA2 models. Yeah, including the Kasrkin. Just want to throw that in there. So your Aeon Stave in shooting is 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/3. Blast, lethal 5 up, stun. So, you know, a shooting weapon with stun is always quite nice, I think. And its blast, like, this is potentially really quite nice. And lethal 5 up, so you're not guaranteed to get a stun, but 5 attacks needing a 5 to, like, that's not bad odds. You should be stunning in a circle radius there. Compared to your Entropic Stave, which is 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 5/3, AP1, mortal wound 3. That's pretty good. Not bad at all, in fact, is it? And then you go to your Aeon Stave in melee. 3 attacks, not good, not good. Hitting on 4s, 3/3, lethal 5 up, stun. Entropic Stave, 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/6. So, not bad. Like, not bad. You do not want to be in melee, but you've got really good shooting options here. And in fact, we're going to see that for the rest of the Cryptex. Like, these guys can shoot. That's all I'm going to say. Which is very fluffy for the Necrons. You know, they're all about high energy weapons and stuff. So, you have Living Metal, 2 wounds at the start of each round. Magnification Conduit. Now, this is... it's not a big thing, but it's important. And this is why you're taking an Apprentech, kind of guaranteed. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack, if a friendly Apprentech operative has an engage order and is visible to this operative in the select valid target step of that shooting attack, you can treat that friendly Apprentech operative as the active operative for the purposes of determining line of sight. If you do so in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice results of 1 result. So, now, look, I've only just read this, right? I've only just read it. So maybe I'm wrong. But, I believe what this means, if I pull this back, right, we pull out our Apprentech. Bam. We pull out our Cryptech. Let's pull out the guy with the Aeon Stave / Entropic Lance. Okay? And we put out our Kasrkin Sergeant. Okay? Now, all good. All good. We can see. Can you actually see everything? Yes, you can. Okay, so it's his turn. We're going to sit here. He can see him, great. But what if we put some GHD merch in the way? Does he need to be visible to him? Yes. There you go. So, oh no. Okay, that's fine. So here, he cannot see him at all. Right? You see on screen? Yes, he is. He can't see him, but he can see him. He is now going to shoot his Aeon Stave with 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/3, blast circle, lethal 5 up, stun from him. That's it. So yeah, So this guy acts as a really cool way that basically the enemy kind of, or is going to really struggle to hide from your big shooter. Big shoot. Ah, that's an orc thing, not a necron thing. My bad. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, and sorry, if you do that, you're actually better because you get rerolls as well. If you do so, in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can reroll all of your attack dice results of one result. And since you're hitting on 4s, you probably want to do that every time, essentially. So really good. And then you get Cryptek actions. So this is the big Cryptek thing, and this is the big thing that's going to have to be discussed. In this, I'm just going to read them. In my actual kind of a video breakdown of the team, I will actually go over these and which one you should pick. So, Cryptek actions are unique actions this operative can perform when this operative is added to your roster or data slate against 2 Cryptek actions. Select them from those opposite. This operative cannot gain the same Cryptek actions more than once and cannot perform a Cryptek action it has not gained. Make a note of the Cryptek actions this operative has gained on your roster or data slate. So, with that in mind, the fact that you are taking this suddenly gives you a bunch of options, and you're going to have to decide when you build your list, what are you giving them? And this means that to add them to your roster, you need to decide when you're taking each Cryptek and why you're taking it so that you can select the correct Cryptek actions. We'll get to them in a moment, because first, all of the Crypteks have this unique action command. 1 AP, so I'm not going to read this again, alright? Command, all your Crypteks get it. Select one friendly death mark or immortal operative visible to and within 6 inches of either this operative or a friendly immortal Despotek operative. That selected friendly operative can immediately perform a free fight, Overwatch, 1 AP pickup, or 1 AP mission action. This operative cannot perform this action while within a game range of the enemy operative. Yeah, there you go. So, note you get to do an Overwatch instead of a shoot. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to be honest with you. It means you would not be able to Overwatch again in your turn. However, it means you could shoot again. Oh wait, of course you could because you're outside of their activation. What am I talking about? This just means you get to shoot at -1 ballistic skill. Fine. Whatever. Loser. Loser of ballistic skill, to be clear. Time Splinter. So these are your different Cryptek actions. This is why you have to be a 3 APL model. And why you're probably going to be using Leech Power often. So, Time Splinter, 1 AP. Cryptek action. Select one friendly Hierotek Circle operative visible to and within 6 inches of this operative until the end of the turning point. That operative has an invuln save equal to its unmodified save. So, if you've got a 3-up save, it becomes a 3-up invuln. There you go. You can, to be clear, you are always visible to and within range of yourself, so you can give yourself a 3-up invuln, or you can give it to somebody else. This would have to be performed before your dude gets shot with a melter, so, you know, as soon as you put this on somebody, your enemy can say, oh, okay, well, he's just given him the invuln, I'm going to shoot the other guy instead. Which, so, fine. Counter-temporal nanomine. Cryptek action plays one of your counter-temporal nanomine token. You've all got a counter-temporal nanomine token just lying around, I assume. No need to worry about that. Tokens within 6 inches of this operative. Each time an enemy operative performs an action in which it moves, it would move within 6 inches. If it would move within 6 inches of that token, subtract a circle from the distance it can move during that action. At the start of the next turn point, remove that token. So that's pretty cool. So it affects everyone that moves within 6 inches. If you can move up the board quick enough and get this to a key choke point, it could be pretty effective. Chronometron. 1 AP, Cryptek action. Select one other friendly Hierotek Circle operative visible to and within 6 inches of this operative till the end of the turning point. Add 3 inches to that operative's movement characteristic. Each time the operative would lose a wound, roll 1d6 on this 5-up wound is not lost. So I really like this one, obviously. Yeah. Makes one of your dudes have plus 3 inch to their move, which is huge, to be clear. So it will make your slowest guys 7 inch move, but it will make your big guys, oh, Can you do it yourself? Yes, you can. So you can give yourself a 5-up feel no pain and a 9-inch move. No. Yes, 9-inch move, sorry. Not too shabby. Chronometron. I think if you're ever taking a Chronomancer, you're taking a Chronometron, yeah. And then one of the other two. Personally, I'd lean towards Countertemporal Nanomine because it kind of works with the Chronometron. You can Chronometron to get yourself up the board a little bit faster. You know, move, dash, Countertemporal Nanomine as if, like, that seems like a pretty solid little thing there. Cool. Because don't forget, you can only get 2 of these. You can't get 3. All 3. So you have to decide. And that's the Chronomancer. Oof. Now we get the Psycho. Yeah, that's right. This is going on for some time. That's right. Psychomancer. Again, these are all the same stat lines. APL 3, save 3 up, 11 wounds. They all have command. Okay. They will have living metal. Abyssal Lance. 5 attacks. Hitting on 4s. 2/2. AP2. Blast. Splash 1. Oh, sorry. Let me whip out the old Psychomancer here for you. Lovely little chap. Lovely little chap. He looks very cool. Very cool model, I think. You know, one of these ones that, like, if you look at a little bit too long, it's like, oh, how's he staying up? Oh, yeah, ooh, cool. Right, let's put him back before I start playing with him like I'm a child. So, and then in melee, sorry, it's 3 attacks, hitting 4s, 2 3s, reap 3, which is pretty cool. But do keep in mind that reap is not as good as splash. So, I don't know, that the 5 attacks hitting on 4s, 2/2 doesn't do much for me, actually. I've got to be honest. AP2 is nice, obviously, but you're still only 2/2 hitting on 4s. So what's your average damage? Not much, I guess. Yeah. Right now, until we read the rest of him, because, oh, sorry, I should have been more clear. All of the Cryptechs have the same 2 abilities, so magnification. They can all do the little jump to the Apprentech line of sight. They can, and then it's just the Cryptech actions that you're getting different here. So his weapons aren't standing out to me hugely. So far, I would prefer these weapons in every situation, but maybe his Cryptech actions are going to blow my tits off. Let's have a read. Conjure Trauma. Right, see, we're all thinking about our childhood. Naturally. Or, if he was to do this to me, he'd remind me of my current existence, life right now. No need to go back to childhood for that one. Cryptech action. Select 1 enemy operative visible to this operative. Until the end of the turning point, that operative is treated as being injured, regardless of any rules that say it cannot be injured. Okay. So, interesting. That seems pretty definitive. Even something that says this model cannot be injured, this quite clearly just says that doesn't matter, it can be injured. So, fair enough. Yep. Nightmare Shroud. I'm not instantly loving it. Giving up 1 of your APL to give somebody injured. Let's see what else he's got. Nightmare Shroud. Until the end of the turning point, each time an enemy operative within 6 inches of this operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack, in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, your opponent cannot re-roll their attack dice and cannot retain attack dice as critical hits. Ooh, I like that. That's quite tasty. Okay. They must be retained as, so they can't crit and they can't re-roll. Ooh, that's quite the shutdown of the melee. And it's not just within engagement range of him, it's within 6 inches. That's interesting. Do note, again, just obviously, despite it being an aura of 6 inches, you do have to turn it on for an AP first. So, Harbinger of Despair. Cryptech action. Select a point in the kill zone visible to this operative. Treat that point as an intended target. That a token can be placed flat upon, e.g. the floor of the kill zone or a vantage point. Place 1 of your despair tokens. Again, I assume we will have a despair token For me, that would just be a selfie of myself, obviously. Each time an enemy operative will perform a mission action or pickup action while within circle of that token. One additional action point must be subtracted for that enemy operative to perform that action. In addition, when determining control of an objective marker, this token is within circle of. Treat enemy operatives APL as being one less. Note this is not a modifier outside of the next token point. Remove that token. Cool. So I'm loving Nightmare Shroud. In reality, I don't know. The only time I wouldn't use Nightmare Shroud over the Harbinger or Conjure would be if I'm not within 6 inches. And I'm not going to be within 6 inches. So I think in reality, Harbinger and Conjure are a little bit of a... Okay. I guess if I'm against an elite team, I'd go Conjure. No, I think, you know what, I think I actually just prefer Harbinger. Being able to kind of define where an enemy, like where you can have the advantage of holding a point, is probably better than Conjure. Interesting. As it stands, though, Harbinger seems better. And that's the Psychomancer. I'm not blown away by that. I like Nightmare Shroud, but his this doesn't seem great, and his other two questionable. Technomancer. Now this is the one that comes in the box. Let's have a look. So huge 50mm base. Technically the same base size as Tyranid Warriors now. Let's not question it. Whatever. Tyranid Warriors should clearly be 40s, but who cares? Lovely, cool model. He was the first redo of the Cryptex for the Necrons, at least in Forge Bane, all those years ago now. Great model, looks really awesome. Comes in the Shadowvaults box. Everyone now has him, so that's super cool. Okay, let's have a look. What does he do? Staff of Light. 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4 AP1. Sorry, 6 attacks. Sorry, the defining thing of that stat line. 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4 AP1. So 6 attacks, jeez. He's not messing around. He's not messing around. And then if you're throwing him through your Apprentech, you're potentially almost, you could think of it as hitting on 3s. Your AP1, I mean that's a pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. But what else does he bring to the table? He bring what? Canoptek Repair. Select one friendly Hierotek Circle operative visible to and within 3 inches of this operative. That friendly operative regains 2d3 lost wounds, or d3 lost wounds if it was successfully reanimated during its turning point. Okay. Okay. Nano Scarab Repair Swarm. Until the end of the turning point, friendly Hierotek Circle operatives cannot be injured. Wait, what? Okay. For a moment, I thought that meant they can't take any damage. Obviously they can. This just means they cannot count as being injured, so they won't lose the stuff. Is that until the end of the if you can't be injured? In addition, in the ready operative step of the next turning point, friendly Hierotek Circle operatives regain up to 1 additional lost wound as a result of the living metal ability, and are reanimated with 1 additional wound remaining. Oh, gosh, you're just always taking this guy, aren't you? Alright, let's see what the other one is. Oh, sorry, he's got 4 as well, not just 2. This son of a gun. Okay. Rights of reanimation. Cryptek action until the end of the turning point. This operative... Oh, okay, he's only got 3, sorry. Rights of reanimation. Once in this turning point, when another friendly Hierotek Circle operative would be incapacitated for the first time during the battle, if it is visible to and within 6 inches of this operative can use its ability. If it does so, that friendly Hierotek operative attempts reanimation. So rights of reanimation and commence reanimation are identical, essentially, but you have to be within 6 and it doesn't cost you a CP. Okay. Interesting. I would have... Okay. Immediately, I'm leaning towards this is your guy. Psychomancer is a hard pass for me, I think. I think the Chronomancer, depending, might have a place. But just right off the bat, I imagine this is your guy. I don't know though. Let's have a look. Let's power through, see what is said elsewhere. Right. Oh, and sorry, which cryptech actions? Yeah, good question. I don't know, man. I'd have to really think about that. Right now, just off the top of my head, I'm not fully seeing how useful and impactful the immediate reanimation is going to be. So I would lean towards Canoptek Repair and Nanoscarab Repair Swarm. But it might turn out that actually Rites of Reanimation is going to be the one to go for. Because it will give you 2 attempts to reanimate before the next turning point. Because you'll reanimate immediately. And then when that fails, you'll be able to reanimate or attempt reanimation as normal. Yeah, oof, that's a real tough one. Your gun isn't amazing, but it is 6 attacks, AP 1. So, I'll take that. Hitting on 4 sucks, though. Yeah, interesting. And again, don't get in melee with this guy, because you will die. Right, Plasmacyte Accelerator. So these are the other 2 tech pieces. Let's see what they do. So, Spark. 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2-3, range 3. Don't do that. Claws, 3 attacks, hitting on 5s, 1-2. So basically, and that's the same here. Yes, it is. Okay, so that's the Plasmacytes. Don't get into their melee. Don't do that. This is not a melee team. This is the Accelerator up there, and this is the Reanimator down here. Say what you will about them, my good sirs, but the height difference makes them very easy to see which is which. So, their stat line is, for both of them, this is movement 3 circle, APL 2, GA 1, 2 defense. Ew, hadn't seen that before. That's awkward. Save 5 up, wounds 5. Okay. You are taking these though, because for these guys, there's no alternative. You either take them or you take nothing. So, oh, actually, sorry, not taking them isn't an option. You literally have to take them for the team to be valid. Hashtag valid. You are valid. So you still get living metal, but as we know, that'll be +1 wound, not +2. Scuttler. They both have Scuttler, so I'll read that for both. While this operative has a concealed order, it is always treated as having a concealed order regardless of any other rules, e.g. vantage point. This operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less action to a minimum of 0, and the operative cannot be equipped with equipment. Cool. Unique actions accelerate 1 AP. So this here's the whole thing this model does. It doesn't do anything else. Okay. Select 1 friendly death mark or immortal operative visible to and within 3 inches of this operative. Add 1 to its APL. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's immediately worth taking. Cool. Right. Well, could have just said that. Cancel all of this. There you go. This is the Plasmacyte Accelerator. Accelerate. Who cares about the rest? Yeah. It's amazing because you give +1 APL. Great. I do note that your Despotech does count as an immortal. Plasmacyte Reanimator. Again, ignore all the rest of that. We just read Reanimation Beam. Once per turning point, when another friendly Hierotek Circle operative would be incapacitated for the first time during the battle, if it is within 6 inches of this operative, this operative can use this ability. If it does so, subtract 1 for the operative's APL. Add that friendly Hierotek Circle operative attempts reanimation. Sorry, I have to go back. I have to reread Reanimation. I have to make sure. So, the reason I'm doing this, sorry, is that for my own sanity, I can find out. I said offhandedly, because I believed it was the case, that reanimation protocols, you can only reanimate once. If that's not the case, and you can reanimate constantly, there's no limit to reanimation, then suddenly the ability to attempt reanimation straight away becomes way more powerful, and I immediately see why you would take that. Let's have a read. Certain rules can allow friendly Hierotek Circle operatives to attempt reanimation, e.g. Reanimation Beam. The first time each friendly Hierotek Circle operative is incapacitated, if it attempts reanimation before removing that operative from the kill zone, place 1 of your... Okay, it's the first time. The second time, It cannot. Okay, cool. That's fine. I'm still not really seeing it. Still not seeing. Like, just off the top of my head, I'm not immediately seeing just how useful attempting reanimation immediately is. I do understand that it's better. So this is just essentially, that is the only thing this guy does. So should you do it? Yeah. Because you get to reanimate earlier, I suppose. Although maybe you don't want to, because it puts your guy immediately into harm's way, whereas if you waited to the first turning point, he'd reanimate and then you could just use him, you know, before he gets one shot. Don't know. Apprentice. So you are movement 3, which is good, instead of these losers at movement 2. APL 2, GA1, defense 3, save 3 up, wounds 10. So he's just like a little, you know, he's a baby Cryptek. Arcane Conduit, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4, AP1. So he's not bad at all, you know, not bad, not bad. He does get this, Magnification Conduit, which is the opposite of this. So he can shoot through the Cryptek's eyes as well. That's what he does. So if the Cryptek is the guy that has the good shot, this guy can shoot through him, or he can obviously shoot normally through himself. Or if the Apprentice has the good shot, then the Cryptek can shoot through him. So you move these two up, like in a line up each side of the board, making sure they can keep visibility, and you're getting some serious snipes, my bro. Sweet. Unique action. Cost you 1 AP. Perform a free Cryptek action with this operative. Perform a free Cryptek action with this operative that a friendly Cryptek operative from your kill team has gained, but is not performed during this turning point. See your blah blah. That Cryptek action cannot be performed by friendly operatives again during this turning point. This operative cannot perform this action while then engage in range of an enemy operative. Cool. So it's just another way to potentially get off your Cryptek actions. If we have a quick look. Yes, no. So you can perform multiple actions. I think Cryptek action, which just references this, but they're still unique actions. So yeah, okay. So you can perform multiple at the same in the same activation. I mean, that's good. It saves your Cryptek. Saves your Cryptek some good APL. I imagine, in general, again, as I say, because you're going to be able to fire your guys, your Cryptek and your Apprentice, from 2 different line of sights, and they've got decent guns, you're probably always shooting with them. But yeah, I mean, being able to do the Cryptek action is good too. So, Deathmark. Note here that it's used their new head. Just on the off chance that isn't seen, I should have mentioned this right at the start when I was looking through the build instructions. On the expansion sprue, there are new Deathmark heads. Don't know why. There's like 3 new Deathmark heads. They don't really. They're not denoted as being anything. They're not a special character. It's just, hey, new Deathmark heads. Enjoy. Bit weird. Well, I suppose they could also be for your Immortals. They don't have to be for your Deathmark. They're not shown as being for your Deathmark or for your Immortal. They're just new Necron heads, I guess. If you want to, you know, differentiate your Immortals, you can. You have movement 2 circle, APL 2, GA1, defense 3, save 3 up, wounds 10. Synaptic Disintegrator, 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, 4/4, AP1, heavy mortal wound 1. And you have fists. So, I mean, hitting on 2s is nice. AP1 is nice. Mortal wound 1 isn't the worst thing in the world. You are heavy, but again, you're almost certainly taking only one of them, and you're probably using dimensional translocation to forward deploy, which is a bit weird because you don't really want him up close. You're actually going to use that forward deploy to put him in a good position, not a close to the enemy position. Yeah. And then we get to the Immortal Despotek. So movement 2, APL 2, GA 1, defense 3, save 3 up, 10. Identical to the Immortal Guardian. And the Death Mark. So you can have a Gorse Blaster or a Tesla Carbine. In fact, all of your stuff is identical to the Immortal Guardians down there, so I'll just read them off. We can look at them now. Gorse Blaster is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4, 5, AP 1. That's that's pretty good. Pretty good weapon, let's be honest. This is the Super Bolter. This is what makes Necrons so punishing in even from Compendium. If you let them get shots off, they're probably going to wreck your face, to be honest. Yeah, pretty good. Then get the Tesla Carbine, 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3/3 splash 1. Oh, I'm always a fan of splash 1, even if all it does is make it mortal wound 1. It's still really good. But it also has the ability to splash, obviously. Which should you normally take? The Gorse Blaster. Just to be clear, that's normally the one you should take. But obviously it depends. Yes, any elite team, it's the Gorse Blaster. I'd probably say, well, guaranteed against anything with that's a horde, which I class as being 12, 13, or 14 models, or 15 if you're Galapox. You'd be taking the Tesla. When you're looking around the 10 models, the Commandos, the Corsairs, which should you take? That gets a little bit more challenging to really consider, to be honest with you. So we then would go over to Demand, which is the only thing that differentiates this guy from the Despotek, because everything else is identical, even the weapon skill, ballistic skill. Demand 1 AP, select one friendly death mark or immortal operative visible to and within 6 inches of this operative. Once during this turning point when the selected friendly operative is fighting in combat, make a shooting attack or a shooting attack is being made against it. You can use the command reroll tactical ploy without spending any CP. So that's really nice. Yeah, cool. It only happens once per turning point, but yeah, pretty nice. I like it. Although, are you going to give up this guy's APL to do that for one of the normal dudes? Yes, probably, because you'd be doing it when they are in a situation where that is required. So those are your data sheets. Let's quickly look at the equipment. My good sir. Phase Oculus 2 EP, death mark only. And since you're only taking one death mark, this is nice and easy to see who this would go on. So Phase Oculus are 1 AP. Select one enemy operative until the end of the turning point. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack with a Synaptic Disintegrator against that enemy operative, at the end of the roll attack, I step that shooting attack. If you did not retain any critical hits, you can change one of your retained successful normal hits to a critical hit instead, resolving the mortal wound critical hit rule accordingly. I think it's not bad, actually. No, I take that. That's bad. I probably wouldn't buy that. If I'm using that, like I said, that a huge waste. If I'm using that, everything else must suck because it's costing you an AP. You don't have any APL to spare. Hyperphase Blade, Immortals only. Your bayonet gains lethal 5 up. Okay, what would that make it? 4 attacks hitting on 3s. 3/4. Lethal 5 up. So that turns you into a standard Space Marine with lethal 5 up. Okay, well, it's not amazing, but whatever. Tesla Weave. Each time an enemy operative finishes a charge action within engagement range of this operative, roll 3d6. For each result of 5 up, that enemy operative suffers 1 mortal wound. So statistically, this should be 1 mortal wound, to be clear. It's not bad. It could be, despite the fact it being called Tesla Weave, it doesn't have to be on an immortal with a Tesla. It's just they should take 1 mortal wound. It's not terrible. Certainly, if you're going up against, assault intercessors or legionaries, it's like, well, yeah, okay, screw it. I'm probably going to need them to be at fewer wounds than they currently are for my bayonet to do anything. Arc Shock Projector 1 EP, Immortal operative equipped with the Tesla Carbine only. The operative gains the following ability for the battle. Arc Shock Projector. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack with a Tesla Carbine, for that shooting attack, for the purposes of the Splash X critical hit roll, inflicts mortal wounds on the target and each operative visible to and within blue of it instead of circle. Tesla Garbo and Hierotek. Oh, okay. So it gives you 1 extra inch on your splash. I actually think that's really nice, if I'm honest. I think if you're taking Teslas, this is worth its weight in gold. Yeah. If you're taking Teslas for the right reason, and you're not just those are the models you have and you have to play them, that's, yeah. 3-inch splash is actually pretty big compared to 2-inch splash. It changes the total radius from 4-inch to 6-inch, which is pretty big. Phase Shifter Plus 3 EP, Cryptek Operative only. The operative gains the following ability for the back. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop that for the battle. Phase Shifter. This operative has a 4-up invulnerable save. Okay. I mean, are we gonna use that? 4-up invuln. Obviously, probably. Most teams have access to some sort of plasma-like weapon. Being able to be able to take a save against that AP2 hot, probably useful. I mean, you know, it's nice to imagine that your Cryptek is never going to be in danger of being shot by that, but you know what, you're probably gonna need to get those shots at some point, so who knows? Who knows? Anyway, interesting. Devouring Nanoscarabs. This is your Grenade. So, 4 attacks hitting on 3 to 3-4. So just a bolter, to be clear. Range 6, indirect, lethal 5-up. Cool. You can throw it once. I think you're always taking this. You know, it's a grenade with lethal 5-up as a bolter. Like, it's not bad. Quantum Reanimates. Oh, I shouldn't say plus on it, sorry. Plus means you can only take 1. Yeah. Quantum Reanimates 3 EP. So give it to anybody. While a friendly Hierotek Circle operative is within 3 inches of this operative, each time that operative would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6 on 4 that wound is not lost. I quite like this. Ultimately, you know, how often are you taking mortal wounds? It's not, you know, it's every game, but it's not every attack. But yeah, I think in general that's probably a pretty good thing, to be honest with you. Cool. So we continue to scroll through this book. We get the Killzone Gallo Dark rules again. These are, I believe, identical. Lovely, lovely job. Oh, now we get Killzone Shadowvaults. So this is the new stuff. Just note, we get some new like weapon lockers, security panels, and cameras. Not going to talk too much about this because I haven't read it myself, and this video is bragging, sir. But I do like that we're getting new things to add to our sets. And what that means for me is that, you know what? If you want to build like a little Necromunda style hive zone, or like your own little, what's the word? Like home base, you can kit it out with what you want. Like you get a camera, security panel, weapons lockers, the ruins for the first one, some equipment piles, bombs, like crates. Hey, you want to set up some sentry turrets? Like, this is super cool. Like, narratively, I think this is really cool, not just to play in, I'm sure it's fine for that, as cover, whatever, but to actually, like, you know, say, hey, this is my hideout, this is where my gang, where my, I mean, I'm sure Necromunda players are going to love it, but this is where, you know, for the rest of us that have really been into narrative, it's going to create some really cool thematic areas for you to play through, maybe. And then we get a robot as well, because why wouldn't you have a robot? The Haunted robot, I believe, you put the bomb on the back. Oh, Breacher robot, should we read this? Is it going to tell us we can go through walls? What does it do? In some missions, the robot will have a breaching role, using its breaching sword to cut through other terrain features. The mission will, okay, alright, fine. It doesn't say you can go through walls, fine. And then we get close quarters rules again. This is obviously Killzone Shadowvaults, close quarters rules. Hatchery fight, condensed environment. Lovely, good stuff. No changes. No changes. And then we get to see some lovely things here. Pictures is what they typically refer to them as. Oh, on the off chance you don't know this yet, the terrain you get in here is identical to Into the Dark. Apart from the additional narrative bits, which we just looked at, the sentry turret, the weapon lockers, it's identical. It's all the same walls, identical. The idea, I mean, I assume this is what they're going to do for all 4 boxes. You get the identical walls so that you can always play the same narrative like layout and competitive layout, just swapping the narrative bits, which is pretty interesting. We then get the kill zone key, so we know all of that. And then these are now different to what we saw previously. So D1, D4, blah blah blah, as opposed to like dotted lines here and there and stuff. Oh, infiltration. What's this? Well, it's narrative, to be clear. So I don't know what it is. I assume this is the Sentries version, but for Into the Dark. I'm not going to read it because, again, we have dragged on. And then we get a bunch of stuff. And we'll get through this quickly. Sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And we get to, I just want to quickly show, critical operations again are identical. So we get an identical 9 competitive missions. There you go. I just wanted to show that. There is one final thing to show though, if you're still with me, if you haven't tuned out, is yeah, we get that. So we get our narrative data slates for the Kasrkin and the Hierotek Circle, and then we get something a little bit interesting. This is a fold out. I don't know why they did this. I'm okay with it, I guess. I don't, but fine. I don't think it was needed, but it's fine. It's fine that they did that. There you go. All right, and we're done in a mere hour and 43. So much time left to take a sip from our Glass Half Dead branded. Can you tell this just turned up, and so I'm excited to be drinking from it. Just excited to be drinking water. Jesus, in this economy, you know. Okay. Well, everybody, that has been interesting, hasn't it? I've got to be honest with you. Let's turn that. There you go. Lovely. I've got to be honest with you. This, having read through it, I prefer this set to Into the Dark. Much prefer the teams. Kroot were cool, don't get me wrong. I thought, you know, the Western mercenary Kroot style thing, super cool. Kasrkin, I just think they're hot stuff, you know, big fan. Necrons, for whatever reason, I think that I have a pretty cool style with them. So I just like the blue icy base mixed with their like silver. I just think that looks good. So I'm quite hyped on that being like the quickest scheme imaginable, and it working. So they're quick to get on the table. So they're not done yet, obviously, but yeah, that's cool. Kasrkin are going to take me ages to paint up because I wanted to do them like an urban camo style, but I can't. I don't want to spend that long doing them. So narrative, like aesthetically, this set is way more my thing than Into the Dark. Rules wise, I think the Kasrkin look like a solid team in regards to a really good team for beginners. So the reason for that is they're just a little bit more durable than Vetguard. You don't have the option of 14 models, so you're kind of balanced to be a little bit better with just taking your 10. And as a newer player, you probably do just want to take 10, you know, so you're learning the game. You have the get out of jail free card with the elite points, and I don't think that tracking another thing like elite points is really that big of a deal. I think you can do that. I think Kasrkin, oddly, are going to be a really solid beginner team. Another reason for that is that they're very standard. They have all of the optives you would expect them to have, that a lot of teams have. They've got your comms, they've got your medic. If you learn Kasrkin, I think you're going to be very easy. It's going to be very easy for you to go over to any other team in Kill Team, specialist team, and you'll kind of know what everything does. You know, like you'll have your groundwork set out for you. So that's really cool. Necrons less so, obviously. I don't think Necrons seem to be a solid beginner team. I think the Kasrkin really doing the standard Imperial team quite well. Get out of jail free with the elite points. I don't have any feeling at all for how the Necrons are going to play. No clue. I think it's going to take a few games for people to really see how impactful reanimation protocols are, how impactful the cryptech actions are, and like, you know, I can see what they're supposed to do. Obviously, that's quite simple with any team. See what it's supposed to do. Is it going to work? Not quite sure. Difficult, because it could be that reanimation protocols, as we know from Compendium Necrons, does have a big effect on the game, and suddenly when you think you've taken something out, for it to just pop back up, as like, you're now controlling that point again. I thought I was clear to run through there, you've come back. Like, how's that really going to affect the game? Hard to say. With all of that said, though, in a sense, because of that, I'm almost feeling like the Kasrkin are a little bit bland. You know, not necessarily, like, they don't seem to have, like, so the Navy Breachers had a lot of weird shenanigans with their GA2, and it kind of like, there was something interesting to really bite into there. It's like, oh, I don't know if it's good, but like, they have GA2 shenanigans, which is something quite unique, and nothing else really does that to that extent. These guys are just kind of like, oh, we've got bad bolt guns, middling armor saves. We can occasionally reroll stuff, but not that effectively. It's like, so what do? They possibly stand on objectives quite well. My God, I think the big thing for them is that I don't think they're going to play that well into intercessors, intercession team, because I think assault intercessors are going to just wreck you, to be honest. And yes, you have access to some good, you know, you can take your plasma, you can take your melter, you can take your crack grenade, so you've got some good AP weapons in there, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, to be honest. Like, you misplace that melter, it's gone. You misplace, you know, like, yeah, don't know. Definitely a tough one with Kasrkin. Definitely going to have to see how they play out, I think. In regards to, are they anything more than just a good beginner team? Cool models. They're essentially scions, but in the new kind of what's the term? Not aesthetic. Scale. In the new scale, you know, they are realistic human scale, more like Necromunda scale or the Blooded or Vetguard. You know, they are that. They're not the old weird Cadians and old scions. They're, you know, if you scaled that up to this size, it would look like a normal human. Oh, that's a really cool idea. Hey, if you've made it to the end of this video, you're probably a fan of me. So hi, thank you. If you have a 3D printer, can you go and find yourself a Kasrkin sculpt and 3D print it for me this size? That'd be sweet. Just throwing that out there. I'd be into that. I'd place that on the mantelpiece. Not that I have a mantelpiece. I'm broke and poor. But yeah, hype. So yeah, I don't know. Necrons, legit no clue. Good shooting. Now they have a few weird shenanigans. I'm not sure if they're good though. That's it. Aesthetically, narratively, way more my vibe. I think it's good that we get Kasrkins for beginners. I imagine they will be quite a hot team for people to buy into, because a lot of diehards for 40k like Kasrkins, you know. So hopefully that will bring a few more players in. You know, those that Imperial Guard fanboys that weren't waiting for Krieg were probably waiting for Kasrkins. It's one or the other, and now we've got them in here too. I don't think they're going to be good though, but we'll see. As in, they might win a lot, but it's because they play the point well, as opposed to they kill stuff. I'm just so lost with Necrons actually. Like so this is, to be clear, Friday. This weekend, I'm going to take them both out and play games with them. And then next week, I'm going to sit down and do my faction guides after I played some games. So, right now, I don't, like, I've read them, and I get it, but I don't get it. Soon, released alongside this video, because this video is now 2 hours long, there will also be the faction guide for Kasrkin and the faction guide for Necrons. The way I'm speaking in those is with experience behind my back. Not much experience, but some. You know, some real world experience under my belt. Now, I'm just guessing, and like, man, I've got no idea. Beginner team, weird team. Who knows? Anyway, guys, this has been Glass Half Dead. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, my god, what a dedicated homeboy and or homegirl you are. Thank you so much. What do you think? Drop a comment, drop a like, a subscribe, check out my merch, check out my Patreon, all that good stuff. And yeah, Shadowvaults. I'm really hyped on it actually. Aesthetically. Hopefully next week I'll be really hyped on it mechanically as well. And you know what? I'm not a great player, so actually Kasrkin might be my team exactly. A little bit stronger than Vet Guard, but you know. Oh, actually, no. I just currently think if I had to look at the top tier, there's no way they're beating Pathfinders, and there's no way they're beating Void Dancers. So they're not top tier, but that's fine. We don't need power creep. They might just sit very nicely in the middle of the pack, have some good matchups, have some bad matchups. The way they're supposed to, the way a team and a game is supposed to be deployed, as opposed to constant power creep. So fair enough. But can they ever possibly advance to the top tier if they don't, you know, without having to dodge the top tier to get there? Who knows? In regards to this big Glass Half Dead, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome. So have I. Alright. Sorry for yawning halfway through there. I just yawn a lot in general. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Check out my faction guides. Have a good one. Bye.